then I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Allow us to begin in the following way by first and foremost thanking each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and allowing this transmission in this way to occur. Each and every time you allow such a transmission to occur between our respective societies, you help us create a link and a bridge and a third reality between our two in which we can interact and perhaps one day interact more concretely, more physically. But for now, we share ideas and perspectives with each and every one of you, ideas and perspectives that work in our civilization and can work in yours if you are of a mind to apply them in that way. Not that you have to. Your reality is your reality, your choices are your choices, your beliefs are your beliefs. We would never in any way, shape, or form, force you to change anything you do not wish to change. But there are many things we have applied in our civilization that work for us in allowing us to have the kinds of manifestations we prefer. And in listening to many of you desire the same kinds of loving, creative, peaceful manifestations on your planet, then we are more than willing to simply share the ideas of the tools and techniques that work for us, knowing that if you are willing to apply them in your lives, they can work for you as well, but that is really up to you. Do you follow? All right. Let us talk about the idea of tools. Every single one of you talks about the idea of applying some sort of tool or technique to make changes in your lives in a positive and constructive way. And we have had many discussions with many of you about the idea of exactly what sort of tools to apply and how to apply them and how to get a result and how to get a manifestation. Now, of course, first and foremost, you are always manifesting something. If you were not, you wouldn't have an experiential physical reality, correct? Correct. So the idea is, you do not have to learn how to manifest. This is automatic. It is built into you as a creator, as an aspect of creation. You do not have to learn how to manifest. What you are simply learning is how to manifest more consciously, to be more aware of how you manifest so that you can manifest what you prefer, instead of manifesting your unconscious beliefs. The idea is to always, first and foremost, recognize that any manifestation that you create, any physical experience you create, is the result of the strongest definitions and beliefs that you hold within your conscious or unconscious mind to be true. Because that is how physical reality experience is created. Physical reality is really nothing but a mirror, a reflection of what you believe most strongly is possible, is probable, is true for you. This exists on both a collective level and on an individual level. In other words, you have a collective agreement about what is highly probable or not in physical reality, and you will abide by that collective agreement to a great degree. For example, most of you, not all of you necessarily, but most of you will agree for the duration of your physical lives that gravity will work. It is as simple as that. You have agreed to that particular physical parameter of experience. And unless you have a specific reason for canceling the idea of gravity and levitating or floating, which many of you might, then you will generally go about your day-to-day activities with your feet firmly on the ground. And that is all you need to understand about that part of the collective agreement. Many of these things are done on a level where you don't have to think about them, so that you can get on with your lives and not have to pay attention every single second to every single thought and every single belief and every single definition that is harbored within your unconscious mind. And that is as it needs to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to simply live your lives. You would always be thinking, do I need to take this step? Do I need to take this step? Am I going to stay on the earth? I don't know. I might go floating away. I have to think about this. Obviously, that would take up a lot of your time, and that is something that will not allow you to just experience life in a natural way. You also have an individual component to this agreement, and that means that each and every one of you have a singular theme that you have chosen to explore in this life, and that there may be many variations of the collective agreement that are germane to you, many adaptations that are specific to you and your specific personal theme of exploration that another individual may not necessarily be able to manifest, but you can. There is leeway, in other words, for the individual within the collective bubble agreement. You will stay generally within the collective bubble, but you can vary the idea of what's probable for you as being very different as to what might be probable for someone else to manifest. And this simply has to do with the themes that you chose to explore when you decided to have this life. And yes, you all chose to have a life. This is an issue of choice. It is not something that happens without you choosing it from the spirit level. That doesn't mean you always choose every single detail, but the idea is that you know that physical reality has a capability of providing certain kinds of random events, and that you know that in exploring the theme of your desire, you will allow yourself to gravitate and be attracted to certain kinds, certain themes, certain windows and opportunities of random events that will best serve your ability to explore that theme. How you go about it is really up to you. The idea, thus, then, it is a kind of a combination, as you say in your language, between what you typically call destiny and free will. The destiny part is the idea of the general theme you chose to explore in this life. That's like a hallway, and you will walk down that hallway. That is a given. That's your destiny. But how you do it, how you walk down that hallway, fast, slow, against the wall, on the floor, crawling, running, upside down, it is up to your free will to decide what works best for you. How it is that it best fits the theme that you chose to explore, how it is that it best fits the persona that you have created yourself to be. Personality being a construction, like a three-sided prism, of three components. Your beliefs and definitions, your emotions, thought patterns, and your physical behaviors. These three things go hand in hand to creating the artificial projection or construct you call your individual personality for this particular life. The idea, thus, is that it all takes its cue, the behaviors and the emotions and thoughts, all take their cue from definitions and beliefs first. That is the first and foremost tool that you need in your kit, is to understand consciously how to recognize what your definitions and belief of life is all about and what your relationship to life and yourself is all about. And once you begin to have a handle on those definitions and those beliefs, then the idea of manifesting what you prefer becomes more conscious. You become more aware of your capability of making choices, and thus you are free consciously to choose what it is you prefer to manifest. But as we said, physical reality is a mirror. Very much like the idea of a glass mirror on your planet, when you look in the mirror and you see your reflection, if the reflection's face is frowning, you know, you don't go over to the mirror and attempt to make the reflection smile. It will never work. The only way the reflection can smile is if you smile first. But the idea is that many of you have been taught to think of physical reality as something to manipulate, which it's not from the outside. The idea is that as you change, physical reality on the outside has no choice, like the reflection in the mirror, but to change. However, here's where many of you get a little bit stuck. We recognize that what you have created as a physical reality, space-time experience, has a little bit of a time lag, has a little bit of an idea of volumetric space and time. Things take time. So, when you do create a change within your belief system within, the idea is that you will see a reflection from the outside world, but you may not see it right away. The idea is that what you may see first is what we call an echo of what you have already created. The idea being that the same situation may crop up as cropped up before. Now, we know that many of you, when you see the same situation crop up, when you see it appear before you, may sometimes, because of how you're taught to think of yourselves, go into self-recrimination and self-doubt and self-devaluation and say, I must be doing something wrong. Something is wrong with me. Why isn't the outside reality changing to reflect what I know has changed within me? But the idea is there's that echo. And sometimes physical reality will simply give you the same situation, the same set of circumstances that was there before, to give you an opportunity to see if you actually really have changed. Because change, and here's one of the primary tools in the kit, is this knowledge. Change is not about what happens on the outside. It's about how you respond to what happens. It's state of being, not circumstance. So the idea is that if you say you have changed, and a similar situation crops up that cropped up before when you were in a negative state, and you react in the same negative way to that circumstance, you haven't changed. Therefore, there is no reason for the outside reality to change because you've just proven with the same old reaction that you haven't changed. If, however, the same situation crops up, the same set of props appears before you, and you respond in a different way, in a way that is reflective of the fact that you really believe you're a different person, then you are proving to physical reality you really have changed. And when you make that proof available to reality, then creation and the mirror can change to reflect a true change within you. So remember, it's not about the idea of what changes on the outside that proves you have changed. It's how you respond to what's going on the outside, even if it's still the same, that proves you have changed. Does that make sense? Yes. Because there is no outside. Physical reality is just a reflection. It's just an illusion. It is just another version of you in whatever state you are in. And if you constantly need to remind yourself what state you are in, that's what the reflection is for, so that you can look in the mirror. And if you see the frown, you can say, oh, that's not what I prefer. I prefer to smile. And thus then, when you keep smiling because that's what you prefer, the mirror will have no choice. But if you make it conditional, well, I'll smile when the mirror smiles first. I'll change, I'll be happy when my physical reality changes first, then I'll be happy as a reaction. It doesn't work that way because physical reality is nothing but a reflection of the state of being you believe is most true for you. So if you choose to be happy because you don't need a reason other than that's what you prefer, then physical reality as a mirror has no choice but to reflect the happiness you have decided is the state of being you prefer without gauging it based on what's going on in physical reality. Because physical reality is just a neutral set of props. Circumstances do not have built-in meaning at all. The greatest gift you have been given by creation is that life, I know this will sound funny, life is meaningless. The point being that you were created to give life meaning, and the meaning you give it determines the effect you get out of it. It is totally neutral unto itself, just a set of neutral props that have no built-in meaning. But it is simple physics. What you put out is what you get back. What you typically call karma in some of your religious connotations. The idea simply is that whatever frequency you give off is the reflection that gets back to you. So the idea simply is that if you understand everything is neutral and doesn't have built-in meaning, then you don't have to react any particular way to anything that happens. Every circumstance and every situation, if you see it as fundamentally neutral, you can then decide, you can make a conscious choice that it must serve you in a positive way. You may not intellectually understand how it will do so, and you don't need to. That's the point. The point is you simply have to trust and have faith that it will, because you know there's no other choice. You know that everything happens in your life for a reason, therefore it must serve you in a positive way, even if you don't intellectually understand how that can be so. And when you maintain that state of being, you will then see, in some way, shape, or form, how the very same circumstance that seemed so negative before can actually serve you in a positive way, because everything can do double duty, because everything is fundamentally neutral. And when you put the meaning in, the positive meaning in, you can only get a positive effect out, even if someone else's intention toward you is negative. The idea, again, being that every single one of you have your own reality. Yes, it seems that you're sharing a reality, but you're actually not sharing the same reality. The only way that you perceive you have other people in your reality, by agreement, is that you agree to create out of your own energy, out of your own consciousness, your version of them in your reality to interact with. You are actually just your own reality. And even though it seems to be populated with billions of people, that is simply the versions of them you have created in your reality to interact with. So it really doesn't matter what anyone else's intention toward you is. You can decide whether their intention and their vibration and their state of being is appropriate for you, is preferable to you. And when you decide what is preferable, then regardless of anyone else's intention, the energy, being the energy of your own reality, will serve you in the way and in the manner you have deemed it shall serve you because of the decisions you have made. And another person's reality will be experienced by them in the way they have put energy into that reality and meaning into that reality. It's as simple as that. This is simply physics. There is really nothing more to it than that. Let's talk a little bit more about the idea of tools briefly. Again, very important to understand. The tools, just in the same way that you don't have to learn to manifest, it's just about learning what it is you prefer to manifest consciously. Tools, any tool you use to create your life, always works. The tools always work. There is no such thing as a tool of creation that doesn't work. It's about how you're using the tool. That's what makes the difference. So, for example, we know on your planet you have a tool called a hammer. And you know that sometimes you wish to drive a nail into a piece of wood with that hammer. Well, the hammer has two ends. It has the head of the hammer, it has the claw on the back. If you use the claw to drive the nail, you run the risk of bending the nail. That's not the end of the hammer that was designed to drive the nail. It's not that the hammer isn't working, it's that you have it backwards and upside down. The idea, therefore, is if you understand the tool and you use it right side up, face front, you can drive the nail in the way that you need to and recognize that the claw is for the purpose of pulling it out, and when you need to pull it out, you can use the other side of the hammer. So it's all about discernment and learning to use the tools in the appropriate way that they were designed to be used to allow you to manifest consciously and get the result that you prefer. Here is another caveat, however, and I know that this seems strange to many of you in the idea of manifestation. Here is the key, though, a very important key. It will be the last thing we will talk about in this monologue before we open up to the idea of questions and answers. And it is this. The idea is that getting in touch with your definitions and getting in touch with your beliefs to determine what it is that you prefer to manifest must be manifested for its own sake, in the sense of doing the act for its own sake, because that's the state of being, that's the state you prefer for its own sake, with absolutely, here it comes, no expectation whatsoever that what you prefer must manifest. Yes, I know, it seems paradoxical, and it is. But that's the point. The point is you need to use the power of paradox. You need to stay in the balance point. When you attempt to manifest a specific thing with a particular intention, with a particular expectation that it must manifest, very often, many of you are putting conditions on it that if it doesn't manifest, as we said, something's wrong. But if you simply allow yourself to be the state you wish to be for its own sake, simply because that's what you prefer to be, then the things that are germane to that state have no choice but to manifest, whatever they are. But if you insist that they must manifest in a certain way, you're actually selling yourself short, because you don't necessarily have the foresight to know the best way that that thing could manifest. And when you insist that it must manifest in a certain way, along a certain path, you're actually closing doorways through which the manifestation could actually happen in a way that is even greater than you imagined it. So don't insist that the fruition must happen in the way that you have imagined it. Just know that it will happen in the way that serves you best, and simply stay in the state that you need to stay that is representative of that manifestation, so that the manifestation can find you. Because you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. This again is simple physics. If you don't stay in the appropriate state that represents the manifestation will remain invisible to you. Because remember, when we talk about manifesting, you're not actually talking about bringing something to you that isn't already here. Things already exist here and now. You don't have to actually reach out to some endless dimension and endless netherworld to attract something to you and somehow bring it into manifestation in physical reality. It's already in existence. It's already here, because there is only here. There is only now. Look at your watches. Anytime you decide what time it is always now, isn't it? Yes, that's the only time it is. All your watches should simply say now, 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 now. That's the only time it really is, ever. You never say, oh, I think it's then. No, it's now. What time is it? It's now. So there is only now, and things can manifest only in the now. What you call, from your linear space-time illusionary perspective, what you call different moments are actually the same moment from a different point of view. It's the same moment. So everything is here, everything is now, and manifestation is just about allowing you to be the vibration, the proper frequency that will allow you to see that part of the now that was heretofore invisible to you. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as an analogy of changing the channels on your television set. You know that when you want to watch a particular program on one channel, all the other programs available to you at the same time still exist. All you have to do is change your channel to see them. That doesn't mean that the program you were just watching has gone into non-existence. It still exists, but you don't see it anymore because you're no longer on that frequency. Physical reality is structured the same way within your consciousness. Whatever you really wish to perceive, you just have to change your frequency, and you'll be able to see that it's always been right here, right now, forever and ever. It's just a matter of tuning your frequency to the appropriate vibration. And the way you do that most strongly, how? Many of you know. Act on your highest joy. Follow your highest excitement. Follow your bliss. Why do you think this is such a popular phrase in your understanding now on your planet? It's because what you call excitement, what you call joy, what you call love, what you call that particular frequency is your body's physical translation of the frequency that represents your true natural core self. That vibration and anything that contains that vibration is who you really are. So act on it. Move toward it. Go for it, as you say, because that's your true compass needle pointing to your true magnetic north. That's why it's so important to act to the best of your ability on your highest excitement. That vibrational frequency is who you were truly created to be. That's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. Unless, of course, you would prefer that it's more complicated and difficult. But that's your choice. We will not take that away from you if that's what you prefer. But we have heard many of you talk, and it seems likely that the majority of you would prefer things to be a little simpler. Creation is, yes, richly complex, but at its fundamental heart, it is not complicated. It is exceedingly, exceedingly simple. And we now ask, in what way, through dialogue, may we be of service to you? Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, I would like to know...
One moment, what happened to hello and good day?
Hello. Good day, how are you?
And good day to you, perfect, and you?
I'm good, thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, please, proceed.
Okay, I would like to know what are my themes for this physical life?
Thank you. Let's take that. As we have already introduced, the idea is the themes that you have decided to explore are going to be the issues that reveal negative beliefs while you're following your excitement. Those are the themes. So in other words, if you feel, for example, you have a particular talent, a particular artistic bent, a particular desire to do a certain thing creatively, but you find along the way, you find by acting on that you are afraid, that you have self-doubt, that you are not acting on it for some reason or other, that's the theme you chose to explore. You understand? Mm-hmm. It is all about transforming the dark into light. Some variation of that idea. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more or that's it?
That was a question. So the answer is yes.
Oh, sorry. Can you tell me what do I need to do to raise my vibration, this entity that I'm channeling, to be able to connect more?
In what manner are you channeling another entity? What style, in other words?
It's a yes and no.
Vocal, automatic writing?
No, it's head movements.
Head movements, all right. Are you channeling for others or just yourself?
I would like to be for others, but
then
for
why
now,
aren't you? Understand something, again, this is like physics. It is like electricity. When you channel for yourself, the energy comes in immediately and telepathically. You open up to source and get information, but if it's just for you, it just happens instantly. It's just there for you. Okay. But if you're attempting to translate it, there's no need to translate it unless someone else is asking a question. And when someone outside of you, so to speak, asks the question through you, then the information and energy passes through you to them. They act as a ground to bring the information through you so that you can perhaps more easily get out of the way.
Got it.
Does that help you?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day, Bashar. Thank you. I would like to speak about dreams, about my addiction. Is it possible?
Dreams.
Yes.
Be brief.
Okay. Basically, I want to know how it's possible that I have difficulty to see the guys from other dimensions that I hear in my dreams.
Have you asked to see them more clearly?
I asked that, and I had the opportunity to see some of them, but not some others. I have had
Well, why not ask the others?
Yes, I asked that as
All
well.
right. Do you trust the way your life unfolds?
Yes, I do.
Then trust the timing of when you remember what you've already seen.
Okay.
There is a reason why it unfolds in a certain timing. And many of you think you haven't seen certain things when you in fact have already seen them, but you don't remember. We and others are using the rate at which you remember what you've already seen to determine when you're ready for more. Sometimes you are allowed to see things, but you are made to forget so it doesn't interfere with your life. The rate at which you remember what you've already experienced and integrate that memory into your daily life is the rate at which we determine when you're ready for more.
Yes.
So just open up and ask for it, and then get on with your life, following your highest joy the best you can, and don't focus on the idea of insisting that you need to know more when you think you do, and trust that you will need to know more and will know more when you really have the need to, when it serves you best.
Okay, so basically I have to integrate more because I feel
In other words, relax.
Okay. Yes.
All right?
Yes.
There is no rush. There is no hurry. You are an eternal, infinite spirit being. What's your hurry?
Okay, yes.
You have chosen to experience certain things in a particular physical life. The only way you can miss an appointment you have made is by spending time worrying you will miss the appointment.
Yes.
That's the paradox. If you stop worrying you'll miss something important, you won't miss anything. That's another way of saying you trust how your life is unfolding. So relax.
Okay.
Just ask. Know that you have help, like you all do, and you will be given whatever information you need when you need it, and you will remember what you need to remember when you're ready to remember it.
Yes, it's about readiness because
Yes.
sometimes I wake up in the night, even if I asked to have this contact and these memories, just like I am a bit worried to see somebody that is maybe a bit different from the way I look.
All right, well, you see, then you need to work on your belief
Yeah,
systems
yes,
and your fear, which comes from your definitions of your relationship
Yes,
to these other beings.
Yeah, and I discovered
So
it.
change your definition, and when you do that and integrate that change within you, you will be able to see more. Because again, remember, the principle is you cannot perceive what you do not contain.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasant dreams.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have been in limbo in my life.
Is that a nice place?
It's an interesting place. It's an interesting place.
Oh, all right, an interesting place.
Yeah,
Is that a city? Is there a population?
It's like a big bowl of soup that I'm swimming in.
I think many of you say you enjoy soup, yes?
Yes, I mean it's very pleasant tasting very
Yes.
often, but
Is there a but here?
yes, it's
All
a
right.
little hard to swim in it
Why?
because the very act
How
of
are you
swimming,
defining it?
defining the soup.
Yes. Things are only difficult to
There-
swim in when you define them as such.
Okay, so I have what I'm experiencing.
Yes.
Lots and lots and lots of very rich experiences.
Yes.
Which I'm really enjoying.
Yes.
You know, our ET friends.
Doesn't
and
sound
various
so
folks.
bad.
No, it's really great.
All right, then what's your complaint?
The complaint is that I would actually like to bring this more forward in my life, as a lot of other people would.
Define More forward.
I'd like to get back to like a healing practice and
All right,
doing
what's
my
stopping
channeling
you?
again. Every time I try to take it forward.
Every time you what?
I take it forward. Uh-oh.
Every time you try?
Every time I take certain actions.
Yes.
What happens?
Are you taking
I'm
them
in
with
for it
certain
now.
expectations?
I would like something to happen.
Well, something will happen, I guarantee that. What is it that you think is supposed to happen?
It would be nice to have a door open so I could make another connection. It would be nice
What kind of connection? Define the connection.
to network with other people.
Well, what prevents you
in
from
work-
doing that? I believe right now you're standing in a room full of people.
And it took some work to get here because
Some
one of
work.
the themes, yes, because one of the themes in my life
Yes.
is that I'm really doing great at experiencing lack.
Well, then you
Okay.
have an abundance of lack.
Indeed, I do. I have an abundance of lack.
All right,
And I am
well,
really,
if you would prefer an
endeavoring-
abundance of something else,
Well, I am making choices as much as in my conscious awareness
Yes.
to expand what that is.
Yes.
And I seem to have hit a big roadblock.
a roadblock.
Indeed.
One moment. Redefine. Roadblock. Not something that impedes me. Instead, I will now define roadblock as an arrow pointing in an unexpected direction I need to go.
I would love to have an unexpected direction.
Then define it that way, and you will get a life that shows you it works that way. The only reason your life is not showing you it works that way is because you're still defining a roadblock as an obstacle instead of an opportunity, an unexpected opportunity.
I ask for opportunities all the time, though.
Then you must allow roadblock to fit in that category.
Okay, all right. So this is
Otherwise, what you're
paradox.
saying is, otherwise, what you're defining is, my life can be interrupted. Something can be there that doesn't belong. Nonsense. There is nothing that doesn't belong in your life. Anything that happens, for some reason, belongs there.
Okay.
And the reason that you are feeling stuck is because you continue to define certain things that happen as things that don't belong.
Or feeling stuck.
Or defining the feeling as being stuck, instead of perhaps simply one of opportunity to contemplate different choices.
Okay, boy, I've done a lot of navel gazing, though. Okay.
Remember, the idea on your planet that many of you define as depression, from our perspective, is simply compression. In other words, when you know the answers aren't out there, you go to where you know the answers are, within. You withdraw. You reinvent yourself. You come out as a new person. If you define it in a negative way, you experience that natural act as depression. If you define it in a positive way, you experience it as compression, a reinventing of yourself. It's all about how you define your relationship to what happens in your life that determines the effect you get. This is simple physics. So if you still feel stuck, remember, feelings, emotions, all have to, by definition, generate from something you believe to be true first. You cannot have a feeling without actually having something defined as true first. There is no way to feel any way about anything if you don't have a definition for it. So the feeling puts you in touch with the fact. If you have what you don't prefer as a feeling, like stuckness, that tells you, hey, you feel this way, your energy feels this way, because you're filtering your energy through a definition that's out of alignment with your true self. Find out what that definition is, identify it, so that you can change it and flow your energy through a new definition that's more in alignment with you, then you won't feel stuck. So use the idea of stuckness in a positive way by considering stuckness a messenger to reveal to you, to help you discover a belief within your unconscious mind you didn't know you had. Oh joy, I'm stuck. That means I'm now going to discover, because of my exploration, a belief I didn't know I had, so I can make it conscious, so I can change it if I prefer to, and I'm on my merry way again, because the process is the thing.
Thank you very much.
Does this
Because-
help you?
Yes, because what you've really identified for me is that I really have a driving unconscious belief system I was not
Yes.
aware of that is now ready to surface. So thank you so much, Bashar. I love you.
Anytime you find yourself, all of you, in any given situation or circumstance and you feel a certain way, number one, you must acknowledge the feeling exists. You cannot change what you do not own. So you must own the emotion. Then recognize it for what it is. And recognize that a certain belief system must be generating it. Find out what it is by simply asking the question, what would I have to believe is true about my relationship to this circumstance in order to feel the way I do? Then be quiet and listen. You will get an answer. Either internally or externally, and a reflection, you will get an answer. Then act on it. Learn more about yourself. That's really the only thing there is. Anything any of you deem as being the important thing to do in life, your mission, your purpose, so on and so forth, those are just expressions of your actual mission in life, which is to simply be you as best as you can. So wherever you are at any given moment, that is a part of anything that excites you. That process, what you call a process, is a part of the thing that excites you. It's not just a means to get there. It is a part of the thing that excites you. The more you stay present in it, the more excited you will be for its own sake, and the more insight you will have as to what belief systems don't work for you. Remember, even your scientists know this. Sometimes you have to go down a path that is representative of what you don't prefer to have a clearer insight as to what you do prefer. Therefore, oh joy, I have found something that I don't prefer. Now I know what doesn't work. That means I now know better what does. That's cause for celebration, not feeling stuck. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Does this help you?
It helps a lot. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. It's a real privilege and honor to be here today, and I've known about you for a long time, so I'm...
We are also overjoyed to interact with you and all of you.
Thank you. I could use your help on something that I have been obsessed about for the last 10 years.
All right, but it sounds more like you could use your own help, but go ahead.
Well, your help in helping me to help myself.
All right, thank you.
All right. I've been somewhat, I have been obsessed with the subject of Nibiru and the approach of this planet towards the Earth.
All right, and when you say obsessed, define that. Positive, negative,
I
fear-based, joy-based?
Well, that's part of the question. I
Okay.
would say my intent is to be positive.
Your intent is to be positive, but your behavior doesn't follow?
The feedback I get from some people is not positive feedback.
Such as, for example?
Oh, I don't want to hear that. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Or,
Oh, all right.
Why are
Can
you
you
so
allow
negative?
Can you allow them their perspective?
Yes.
And can you understand that in their reality, their perspective may actually be representative of their reality?
Absolutely.
And do you understand that you all are different parallel realities and that whatever you vibrate on, whatever frequency you vibrate on is what you're going to experience?
Yes.
So what do you prefer to experience with respect to the idea that you have called Nibiru?
To help people to understand what is going on. So
What does that mean?
that means to...
What is going on is only going on in your reality.
Well, physically.
Yes, physically.
planet.
It's only going on in your reality. Let me explain something very clearly.
All right.
When we talked about the idea of each of you being your own reality, this was not a metaphor. We mean it literally, physically. You are each your own discrete, distinct, parallel universe. Completely, utterly, totally different universe from each other. Utterly, physically, really, literally. So, what do you prefer in your parallel universal reality with respect to your relationship to that concept?
Well, I
Not about what you think you need to tell others. What do you, in your personal relationship, want to experience with respect to this concept that you've been introduced to?
I want to experience freedom.
All right.
And, greater enlightenment within
All right.
myself.
And that will allow you to simply do what?
To enjoy my life.
Then why not just simply
help
enjoy
others.
your life? And forget about the idea of Nibiru.
Okay, it hadn't occurred to me.
Well, there you go. Glad we could provide a different perspective. First of all, understand that for most of you, even though there is some physical reality to this idea, it is mostly in your time frame metaphorical. That physical planet will not, in any way, shape, or form, be perceived physically by any of you in your lifetimes.
Oh, okay, well.
Therefore, what you're discussing is your energetic and metaphorical connection to that idea, in the same way that you discuss energetic and metaphorical connections to any planet when you talk astrologically, so to speak. These are just reflections of ideas going on in your consciousness. It doesn't control you, it reflects you, so that you have another tool, another permission slip to learn more about yourself. All tools, all techniques, all knowledge is just permission slips to allow you to give yourself permission to be more of who you are. If that permission slip works for you, fine. Doesn't necessarily have to work for someone else. But if you find you already know what you prefer the permission slip to do for you, that you wish to simply be more joyful in your life, then you don't need the permission slip anymore. Just be more joyful in your life. Simple as that. You don't have to hold on to any of these representations any longer than you know what the purpose of the representation is. Make sense?
Yes.
Does this help you?
It does, yeah.
Do you feel a little more relaxed?
A little bit.
Oh, all right.
A little bit, but I still have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Based on what you just responded to.
Oh,
You're
all
saying
right.
we'll never perceive Nibiru. Fine. What is going on with the Earth now? If we'll never perceive Nibiru, why is it happening? Why
Because you are going through the idea of a transformation, and you are agreeing to do that in your own respective parallel realities together. So the idea is that because this is the age, I'll just lump it all together, the age of awareness and transformation, you are connecting to any symbol at all that represents the idea of change from darkness to light. That being one of them. These are all symbols you're connecting to from this life now to aid and assist you in reflecting to you the kinds of transitions you can make within your own consciousness and within your own energy to determine once and for all what kind of a reality you would prefer to experience. And remember that when you change, any of you and all of you, you're actually shifting to another parallel reality that is more representative of the change you made. You will never actually change the earth you're on right now, or anyone on it. You, by changing, will simply shift yourself to a parallel reality that is more representative of the vibration you prefer and populated with people who are also more representative of that frequency. The other earth will still exist, and it will never change. You change and take yourself, shift yourself to another parallel, simultaneously coexisting earth. There are an infinite number of them. So decide which earth you prefer, and that's what you experience outwardly in the illusion of so-called change. It's not that anything out there is actually changed. It's that you've taken yourself to another parallel reality and are now getting a reflection of a completely different earth. Make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
All right, have fun.
Thank you.
Good day. My question
One
is-
moment, one
Oh,
moment.
oh,
Be bold and speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
All right. My questions are about transition and transformation.
Transition and transformation,
Transition
yes.
and transformation.
Is there a difference?
Does it matter?
No, but you brought it up.
Oh, those are just a couple of words that represent the concept.
Oh, all right, thank you. One would have sufficed. Economy, after all, economy.
All right. Okay. So
You know our favorite tea?
anyone?
Brevity.
Okay. All right. So I've come from an experience
Yes.
of many years of working in a situation with a large company.
Yes.
through all of those years of experience, came out of that with a very big desire for something very different. So
Such as?
I learned a lot about what I don't want.
Thank you.
And what I do want
Yes.
is,
What you do prefer.
what I do prefer
Yes.
is to create good things with good people
All right.
and be in an organization of people who agree to have positive experiences and an organization that is in the light of the light.
Is it all right if somebody in the organization doesn't agree to have a positive experience?
Oh, yeah.
All right, then why do you care?
I prefer my experience
Yes.
to...
Are you not creating your experience?
Yeah, see, this is why I'm having this discussion with you, because
I
I'm
see.
trying to figure this out.
Trying, all right.
All right.
Let's try to figure it out. Doesn't mean we'll figure it out, but we can try figuring it out.
Okay.
What is it that you are not doing that represents your highest excitement that you could be acting on? Let's cut to the chase.
What?
Oh, well put. You say you prefer certain things. So is there something you could be doing that's representative of your highest passion that you haven't yet begun acting on? What can you be doing that is representative of what you say excites you, that you're not acting on yet?
And that's an excellent question. Is
Thank
somebody writing
you.
this down for me?
Do you have an excellent answer?
I think I get confused between
Yes.
the experience as a human being with other human beings.
The
and
experience as a human being with other human beings. Yes, and what?
I enjoy dialogue, which allows us each to get to a better place.
All right, so you're saying that dialoguing with other people is a part of your highest joy?
It is.
Are you doing it in the way that you prefer to do it?
Those
Hesitation means no.
more often.
All right, more often, very good. What will you be able to do that will allow you to do it as often as you actually would prefer to do it? What can you do? What actions can you take in that direction that would allow you to do the things you say excite you as often as you would actually prefer to do them and not just every so often?
I wonder if I need to get really clear about how often I want to have those.
Obviously, yes, you do. And how often do you want to have them?
Well, I think from my previous experience.
The past is the result of the present, not the other way around. Do not base what you prefer on what has been. For what has been doesn't exist if you truly are a different person than you used to be. Do you understand?
Yes. And
Are you sure?
No.
Thank you. Be honest. Understand every change is a total change. You are a different person literally every moment. I know it's confusing because in your language we are saying you are a different person.
No, that's clear. What's confusing is when I try to put it all together and make sense of it.
Then it's obviously not clear. Explain to us what we mean when we say you're a different person. What does that mean?
To me, it means each moment I've taken in new data and processed where I want to go from here, where I prefer to be, and therefore...
Insufficient.
Okay.
What else does it mean? You're a new person. What does that mean?
I don't know.
It means that what you call history is different. A new person, a completely different person, has a different history from another person, don't they? Don't they?
Yes.
Then if you're truly a new person, it means you're a different person than the person that was here a moment ago, and that means the new person has a completely different history, doesn't she? Doesn't she?
Okay.
Therefore, there is absolutely nothing that has happened to the other person that in any way, shape, or form defines the person you're saying you are now. Is there?
Okay.
So, why not just act on the things that excite you regardless of what happened to her, because you're not her. That'd be like saying, well, I can't do this because Sally over there had this happen to her.
I agree with that.
All right, well, it makes no sense then to keep going back to the idea of what you've been through as if that has any bearing on what it is you can decide to be now. You can just decide what you prefer to be, act accordingly, be that state of being, and let your life unfold according to that vibration, regardless of anything that has ever happened to any other person that was here before, which you are not now.
Okay, so can you talk to me a little bit about the interaction with other people? Because
As we already said, what you're interacting with is your version of them in your reality. They're made out of your consciousness. I'm not saying there aren't other people, but what you interact with in physical reality is made out of your consciousness. So they're simply acting as reflections to you to help put you in touch with more of yourself so that you can decide more concretely what is preferable to you and not. Any relationship, all relationships, are for the purpose of every person in the relationship helping to reflect to the other person what they need to know to become more of who they are and to let go of who they are not. So any encounter, any interaction you've ever had with any version of any person has been for the purpose of helping you to decide who you really prefer to be and thus acting accordingly. But the action must come. You cannot just decide to be someone and have no commensurate action that goes with it. Your behavior has to match who you say you are, in other words. So if you say you're this excited being that has all of these exciting ideas, but you're not acting on them, you're not doing anything, you're not acting on your excitement, then you're not behaving like you really believe you're that person. If you have in your mind's eye a picture, a vision of you in your ideal reality, and if you actually watch really closely how that version of you behaves, you will see that more often than not, she's behaving very differently than you're behaving in your daily life. All you have to do is actually behave like she would behave in every given situation. And when you behave like she would behave, that person in the ideal scenario, you will then have her life. But if you behave differently, you will simply have this life. The life that is commensurate with your behavior and your beliefs. Make sense?
yes,
That's what your imagination is for. Your imagination is the portal to talk to your higher mind, so that your higher mind can give you an example of the feeling and the frequency of the behavior of the state of being that represents your highest ability to attract to you, quote unquote, manifest, the idea that best represents that state of being. And you don't even have to insist that it's exactly got to come to fruition in the way that you've imagined it. That's just a template. It's just to get your engine moving. It's just to give you the state of being. It's just a placeholder. It's just a symbol. It might manifest exactly as your physical mind has pictured it, but it might not. So don't insist on it. Remember that the higher mind can see farther and can actually bring you a situation that is even better than you imagine. So don't insist on the picture your physical mind has created, because physical mind is not capable, is not designed to know how things are going to happen. Physical mind is only designed to know how things are happening. Physical mind perceives. Higher mind conceives. So if you allow the higher mind to simply bring you what fits the vibration that the picture your physical mind has conjured up creates within you, then just let it come in whatever form the higher mind actually says is best, without insisting that it must fit the picture your physical mind was capable of conjuring as a symbol. Make sense?
yes.
Does this help you?
Yes, and I think my last part of the question to wrap this up is, so if I have the question in myself,
then you have the answer. If you don't have the answer, you're incapable of conceiving of the question. All you have to do is take that little bent over question mark and straighten it into an exclamation point.
okay.
Make sense?
So you don't want to hear the question then?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that my question at this point is, do I want to have more experiences with people one-on-one or with people in large groups, to use this room as an example?
Do you have a preference at this moment?
Exactly, that's the question. And
Do you? Do you have a
This
preference?
is great, I like this.
Do you have a
My
preference?
preference right now is to be right here with all these people.
Then there you go. Maybe tomorrow that will change.
Right, and so what I'm thinking is this one of those, okay, should I take this step? Should I take this
Stop.
step? Should I ta-
Stop.
Right?
Stop.
Is that what that
stop,
is?
Stop, 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 stop. Here is what's confusing you. You are too detail-oriented.
I know.
You are breaking things down into details that don't need to be broken down into so many details,
Yes,
into so many
that's it.
components. Understand, your excitement is an umbrella excitement. There may be many different expressions of how you express that excitement, but those are just expressions, and it's all right for them to change. So you don't have to wonder whether this one's right or that one's right. Just act on the one that feels best at this moment, and if it changes tomorrow, act on that. Because they all fit under the umbrella definition of what excites you. Keep it holistic. You don't have to break it down into so many details that confuse you, because then you think you have to put all the details back together to make up a whole picture. Just understand that it fits within the umbrella definition of the general things that you find really exciting, and if any expression of that excitement comes as an ability to be something to be acted on, then act on the highest one at any given moment. You have the highest degree of ability to take action on, and that's all you have to do, because excitement is a thread that leads to all other excitement.
Perfect, thank you.
Make sense?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Can you please say something about chemtrails?
Something about chemtrails.
Can you please give us some information about chemtrails, because there's a lot of people interested in exactly what they are.
I know. Some of that information is no longer appropriate to come through this terminal. We have changed our frequency about what types of information we will deliver to your planet, and some types of information are simply no longer appropriate for the vibrations of change that are going on. Nevertheless, obviously they are artificial constructs. Some of them have to do with the idea of experimentation in weather alteration, and that is all we are allowed to say at this time, because it is simply not part of our repertoire at this moment through this particular terminal. Anything else you would like to discuss?
If chemtrails, whether or not they're harmful or not, if we have
Sometimes they can be. They are not always.
do we have the ability to transform them just by our positive vibrations?
You have the ability to have them affect or not affect you according to the vibration of your own individual reality. But on a bigger picture, you also have the ability to form co-agreements with each other to create collective reality experiences. More simply put, you are your government. It is not us versus them. You want things to change? Change them. You are not powerless. Does that help you?
Yes, Bashar, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It is delightful to hear you again.
You have lost your light?
We did a reading.
You are delighted as opposed to lighted?
I'm sorry. We did a reading in mid-'80s, one-on-one.
Oh, right.
It was amazing.
But that wasn't with you or me. That was with two different people in another parallel reality.
A past one, indeed.
But past is also simultaneously coexistent. Now, yes.
Okay.
What you call the past and the future are just different simultaneously coexistent parallel realities that exist now, yes.
Thank you. What I would like to know is, I have a painting I did when I was 10 and 11.
All right.
I would come home from school obsessively and paint this picture
Of?
of the destruction of a planet
Yes.
with green beings hugging trees
Yes.
that were on fire.
Yes.
I would like to know where that came from. Am I a contactee?
It came from the, yes you are, many of you are, but it came from the idea of what you were projecting was a possible path your own Earth could go down. that you could destroy yourselves by not paying attention to your relationship with nature. But many of you have changed that now. So that painting, in a sense, while it may have been an obsession back then, is now perhaps obsolete.
Ah, okay.
Do you understand?
So you're,
When you are children, you are very, very, very sensitive and perceptive about the collective consciousness choices being made for the planet. And you may express it in a variety of ways, such as paintings being one of them. But it gives you an understanding of where things lie so that if you don't prefer them, you can change them. That's why there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. A prediction is simply a sensing that exists of the energy that exists at the time the prediction is made.
As
It's
a
letting you know where the
possibility?
collective energy stands so that if you don't prefer it, you can change it. And many of you have changed it.
It exists as a possibility?
Yes, all things are possible.
Right.
It exists as a probability. But now it has less probability than simply having a world that you prefer. Because you have made shifts to different parallel realities over the course of your physical lifetime.
Yes, I am a contactee. Can you illuminate that, elucidate that?
No,
Okay.
it is not our place to do so at this time.
Okay, thank you then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good day.
Andrew, good day.
Could you tell me how you feel about high-speed rail in the state of California?
Sounds like fun. But we are not connected to your politics in that way. So the decision is up to you. How do you feel about it?
Good.
All right. Then that was a nice conversation.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
Andrew, good day.
I was hoping that you could help explain to me the difference between the higher self and God.
The higher mind and God.
Yes.
God, what you call God, is all that is. There is nothing outside of it. It is all that is, all that exists. Higher mind is a specific fragmentation of all that is the counterpart non-physical component of the physical mind, the physical persona you are experiencing yourself to be by having a physical life. So a physical person is actually, in a sense, two components, the physical mind and the higher mind, that are specific to that person, to that point of view, to that experience of your soul as a physical being. Soul is a higher differentiation that contains them both, and is also an aspect of all that is, but on a different level and a higher level than the physical mind and the higher mind. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Anything else?
I was going to ask if you could explain to me the nature of the Eagle Nebula and what it's there for in terms of, I guess, my point of view. I see it as...
how do you relate to it? That's the only relevant question. Okay. How is it relevant to you? Why does it attract you? What does it represent to you?
Is it precise for me to say that it is a birthplace for beings?
There are beings in star systems within what you call the Eagle Nebula, and you are making a connection, obviously, from this life to some of those ideas of incarnation. But that's being made concurrently. Remember, all realities exist at the same time. You don't come from somewhere else. All lives exist at the same time, and from any given life, you can make cross connections to any other life your oversoul may be having at the same time for your own reasons and for your own purposes, to draw information from those experiences to aid and assist you in this life, just as other lives are drawing from your experiences to aid and assist them in those lives, whether they consciously know they're doing it or not. So if it has relevance to you, it would be simply because you are making cross connections, because you believe that some of the experiences going on in some aspect of your soul there is relevant to the life you're living here. So the question still comes down to the idea of, why is it relevant for you? What does it make you feel?
What's the best way for me to explore that connection?
What does it make you feel? That was the question that led to that idea. How do you feel when you think of your relationship to the Eagle Nebula?
Scared.
Scared.
Yes.
How exciting. What are you afraid of?
Being there and not here.
But you are there and here simultaneously on a larger level.
Okay.
So, are you scared now?
Less.
All right. Well, what do you mean by being there and not here? Specifically, what about that definition frightens you?
Well, I feel very attached to my physical body.
Yes,
in
you
this
are.
moment.
Yes,
and
so?
I have a difficult time perceiving a physical body in that time and space.
So?
But yet I feel attracted and drawn to it for some reason.
All right, well, that's all well and good, but you haven't described anything for, shall we say, cause for fear yet.
Fair enough.
What frightens you about this idea?
I guess the detachment from my current...
Do you actually believe that you could leave ahead of the appointed time you chose?
I don't know.
Well, I can prove to you this idea if you wish.
I would love that.
Lie down on the floor.
Okay.
Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Are you there?
I am.
All right, are your eyes closed?
They are.
Did you take a deep breath?
I did.
Say, I'm ready to leave this life. I am done with this life. I'm ready to leave. Say it.
What if I'm not?
Do you want me to prove this to you or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Say, I'm done with this life. I'm ready to leave.
I'm done with this life. I'm ready to leave.
Take a deep breath. Open your eyes. Are you still here?
Yes.
Then you're not ready to leave. It's that simple. You will leave when you're ready to leave. You will not leave 1 second before you're ready, but you will not leave 1 second later than you're ready. Do you understand? You already chose the timing, and because you chose the timing, you will know that the timing, whatever it is and whenever it is, will be perfect according to what you chose, so you don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it. If you were really ready to leave, you would have gone. If you were really done with this life, you would have left. It's that simple. Something would have happened to cause you to die. You didn't die, so you're not done. It's that simple. Make sense?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Absolutely.
Will you breathe easier now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
My question is, outside of this neutral physical reality, does darkness exist?
Outside of your reality?
This physical reality, like as in all that is.
All that is, by definition, obviously must contain darkness and light, or it's not all that is. Polarity is the first reflection, the first split off from the one. The one, by definition, doesn't know itself. In order for the one to know itself, it must split itself into something it can recognize as itself. By doing so, that automatically creates polarity. Thus, within all that is automatically the definition of polarity. So polarity exists on every level of all that is, even though it doesn't exist within the one. But the one doesn't know itself. There's no experience in the one. There's only experience within all that is. So to have experience, you have to have the polarity, or there's no experience. So the short answer is yes. Darkness exists everywhere, but that's not the point. The point is when you know that that is so, then you can allow it to be an equally valid choice to any other kind of choice you could make. You will not charge it with any energy beyond what it needs to be charged with. All choices will be equal and valid, both light and dark, and when all things are equal, you can choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't prefer. Make sense?
It does.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you. Glad we could shed some darkness and light on the subject.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Well, my question is, I have seemed to have proven to myself that I'm a master of manifesting difficulties.
Oh, all right. Congratulations. This is why we call your planet Masters of Limitation.
So my question is, I want to know how to stop manifesting difficulties for
Well,
myself.
start manifesting joy and ease and effortlessness.
Well, I'm always following my highest excitement.
Are
and-
you sure?
Well, I think so, because I
You
always
think so now.
Well, right.
With one sentence, I got you to doubt it.
Oh. The result is often difficulties. So
Define difficulties.
for instance, do you want to go to the forest and go hiking? Yes, that sounds awesome. Let's do that. And
Yes.
then
And
poison
then?
ivy.
And then what?
Poison ivy, you know.
So what? So what? So what?
Well,
why are you defining that as a negative?
Well, because it debilitating, you know.
And
can't
why
work.
are you defining that as a negative? How do you know that you didn't need to be debilitated at that moment so that you would pay attention to something that otherwise would have gone right past you?
Well,
How do you know?
I don't know.
Thank you. That's the point. You don't know. So stop pretending you do.
So
Stop pretending you know what everything happens for, because you don't. You may never know, but you have to trust that whatever happens is happening to teach you something in a positive way or to serve you in a positive way. If you don't go in with that attitude, you will only get a negative result. If you define something as not belonging, if you define it automatically as negative, you will only get a debilitating result. You will not understand what the debilitation might be for. To use your kinds of examples, let's say you wish to get somewhere on your planet and you need to drive one of your automobiles and you become what you humans call stuck in a traffic jam. So what? Most of you need to learn the power of the two-word meditation. So what? Because how do you know that if you had been allowed to zoom down the freeway, you wouldn't have collided with another car? How do you know that by sitting in traffic at that moment, not moving forward, that somebody in another car isn't looking over at you, having had a horrible day, and they see you sitting there being happy that you're stuck in traffic, smiling and singing, and you brighten their day and you make all the difference in their world? How do you know that's not what it was for? You don't. So stop trying to know what everything is for, and you'll have a much happier life.
So just
There is
ride the
a
storm.
bumper sticker on your planet that sums it all up. Ever since I gave up hope, I feel much better. Anything that happens, happens for a reason. You may not prefer it, but recognizing that something is not what you prefer doesn't mean it's not serving you in a positive way somehow. You have to stay in the state that allows you to know it serves you in a positive way in order for you to get a positive benefit, even if you never intellectually know that that person in the other car saw you singing. You may never know that, but you have to know there was a reason why you were stuck in the traffic jam. You have to know there's a reason why when you walked into the forest, you got poison ivy. Now, yes, it can be as simple a lesson as watch where you're going, dummy. But it's still a lesson, and it still serves you in a positive way because next time you'll avoid it. So you have to look at it from a positive point of view, because if you don't, you will only repeat the negative cycle over and over and over and over and over and over and over, because that's all you're seeing, because you haven't let go of the idea that it served you in a positive way. So you're the one focusing on the negative energy that keeps you locked into negative experiences, into negative reflections.
Of course. Wow, thank you.
Does that make sense to you?
Oh, the immense sense. Thank you.
Immense sense.
Yes.
Hi.
And are you good day?
Good day. I just wanted you to shed some light on the idea of homosexuality.
Yes.
What is the, why would
Your
spirit...
spirit is neither male or female. It can manifest in either. Sometimes you want to have experiences in one gender, sometimes in another. Sometimes you may be used to one gender more than another, so you may choose a physical gender you may not necessarily be used to, and so it may take some getting used to. So you still have feelings of the other gender. Sometimes you choose it deliberately because you want to help other people relax their prejudices. It could be any number of ideas in between, but your spirit is all things.
Okay, and also...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And also I wanted to ask, how do people in your society reproduce?
At this time, though we used to reproduce much as you do, at this time it is generally an energy act. Individuals create literally an energy bubble between them in which a new life form is created. It grows very rapidly, and thus then we have a new incorporation within our society, if such is desired. But it is no longer in that sense a physiological act, but that's just where we are in our evolutionary stage. But we used to do it similarly to you.
Okay, thank you.
Remember, we are a hybrid species based on your genetic material. So we're not that dissimilar, except that we are now in our evolutionary state much farther along and closer to the idea of non-physicality. So many things we used to do, we no longer do. We no longer eat, we no longer sleep, we no longer drink.
Will human civilization reach that point on Earth?
Yes, eventually, in about 1,000 of your years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. At this timing, we will extend once again to each and every one of you our deepest appreciation at the co-creation of this interaction and allowance of this transmission. We remind you, the tools always work. Use them in whatever way you prefer. Be who you prefer to be. Our unconditional love to you all. Good day. How'd it go? Okay? All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being here today, and look forward to seeing you again. Have a good day. Thanks.